This video is for those people who are interested in applying for data science jobs or generally tech-related jobs. But I need to give a disclaimer. I have never worked as a recruiter or a career coach. This video is just a collection of my experiences for education and entertainment only. The advice and information provided in this video will not fit every single situation, but that's generally what I have come across. I guess number one is to find a job to apply. The way it works for me, I'm either applying for jobs actively or most of the time it's the talent acquisition managers that they do the headhunting. However, let's talk about finding the job. Let's just say no one has approached you and you're going to find data science, machine learning, data analytics, jobs. How do you really find them? Make sure you do a big and wide range of exploration. So do not only limit yourself to the terms like data scientist or machine learning engineer. Different companies call these roles under different names. Some call it product analyst. Some people call it business analyst. The names that companies use are business analyst, product analyst, data analyst, research scientist, quantitative analyst, data scientist, or machine learning engineer. To me, they are different things, but companies based on their structure and then their naming convention, they tend to use the same names for different things. But that's not the point here. The point is search for a bigger range of titles and names to increase your chances of landing a position. What I normally do, I search for data scientist, machine learning engineer, business analyst, artificial intelligence specialist, and so on. Number two, do some self-reflection. Make sure you understand where you want to be and what do you want to specialize in. You can go ahead and apply for every single data and tech-related job that comes up in your search, but I guess you really need to reflect on that. With new jobs, you'll be under probation for 3 months, 6 months, a year, depending on the contract, and then you don't really want to be working on a role that is not really what you want. Consider the other side as well. Don't be too fussy if you are a beginner and you're just getting started on data-related jobs. Don't be like, oh, I don't really like this bit. Well, if you are happy with the 80% of the job description, apply. What I do is that when I'm happy with 80% of the description, I apply for the job. It will never be 100% tailored to you. Well, sometimes there are jobs that are exactly what you are, but what are the chances of getting that specifically if you're starting your career as a data scientist? And that takes me to number three. Don't demand perfection. Your first job in this industry probably will not be your dream job. But it's always easy to transition if you are in the industry and you're trying to move from one role to another, rather than you're trying to transit from university to data or from engineering work into data science work. And that's what I did. In the tech world, it's very normal to switch jobs, and it's not really difficult, especially these days. Tech is booming, and then the probability of you moving between jobs is not really small. Number four, don't undersell yourself. Descriptions are generally wish lists with some flexibility. If you meet the 80% of the requirement and otherwise you are a really good fit, you should still apply. Having said that, be wary of the job descriptions that are sent to you. Normally they ask PhD in computer science, 10 years of experience in Python, Java, and R, and everything else in the world, proficient in SQL and cloud services, deep learning, machine learning, artificial intelligence, business intelligence, and I really want people who are writing job descriptions to sit down and think. Being in the data industry, you will hardly find someone who has that much experience in that depth and they are out there looking for a job. Number five, and I guess it's really important, LinkedIn. LinkedIn has changed to be the bank of information for recruiters. In my previous video, which I have the link up the top, on average, I get 3 inquiries from headhunters or talent acquisitions per week when they're trying to get me into their company. Find connections on LinkedIn, follow people, add people to your network, communicate with people, ask for recommendations, ask for mentorship. Do not be afraid to go out and seek help out there. We have all been there, and I still do that. I still try to get other people's brains on how to do things. And last but not least, attend conferences and meetups. Meetups and conferences are a really good spot to meet people in person, see what positions are upcoming, what type of people they're looking for, what is really hot in the industry, and that kind of information that you don't really get it on websites, Google searches, and all that. Be friendly with people and they will be happy to share information with you. Let's talk about resumes, CVs, and cover letters. There is a huge push out there that they say, try to keep your resume and your CV to one page. If you can, brilliant. But if you cannot, and you have heaps of experience, I would still keep them if they are relevant. My CV is 3 pages, and I did my best to reduce it from 6 pages to 3 pages. From there on, I would have had to get rid of my education or some of my experience or some of my skills. 1 to 2 pages or 3 doesn't really matter, I guess. However, I'm not in a good position to tell you, yes, you must or you must not. My CV, 3 pages. The next point, which I guess is more important, is proofread your CV or have someone to proofread it for you. Your CV is not being read by humans anymore, at least for the first part. Your CV goes through a software that picks up for punctuation, for spelling, for grammar, for inconsistency, for font disagreements. Proofread your content. Own your CV. Don't just dump information, copy from one file to another one, and hope that you will land a job with Google. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but again, your CV represents you first pass. They're not going to see your face. They're not going to see anything about you. They will see your credit. Depending which country you're applying in, there is a controversial disagreement whether to include a photo or do not include a photo of yourself. I don't have any opinions. My CV doesn't have it. I don't know, but I'm in Australia. I don't think we include it here, but seek advice about the country you're applying in. The next point is not really easy. You need to tailor your CV to the role. Does that mean that you will have to write a CV or resume for every single job you're going to apply? Well, not really. But every job description is different. And if you really want to land a position with a specific company, do not hesitate to shuffle things around, to add skill, to delete irrelevant information and add more relevant information. What I'm trying to say is just dumping your CV is not guarantee. The guarantee lives inside your CV and inside your cover letter. Make sure you tailor your CV and resume to the job. Bullet points. Start bullet points with a verb. Performed a very successful project, blah, blah. Do not start with a noun. The project, blah, blah, blah. No, we are starting bullet points with verbs. Write a cover letter. If the position asks you to have a cover letter, please write it and spend time, because that's gonna pay you back with the job that you really want to get. If you're not gonna write a cover letter because you're like, I'm not really interested in this role, I'm just gonna send my CV and what happens, sit back. Remember that if you do a lousy application, you will highly probably get a lousy response. And that's not what you want to get. I'm not saying that a good cover letter and a clean CV is definitely a success story. No, but I'm saying if you're not invested in a role to sit down and edit your CV and your cover letter, you should sit back and think. All right, let's talk about interviewing, the juiciest part. Soon, I will have a comprehensive video on data science and machine learning, artificial intelligence interview questions, how to answer them, and what are the red flags. But in brief, let's talk about interviewing. Make sure you prepare and practice. Do not get out of your bed, sit in front of your laptop, and perform an interview. If you are super confident about your skills, brilliant, do it. But my suggestion is sit down and practice. Anything on your resume is a fair game. So if you have put down that 6 years ago you did 6-month internship at AWS, wait for a question to come up and be ready to answer that question. Research the company, and this is fascinatingly important. Read their website, read their newsletters, research on Glassdoor, on LinkedIn, look at the people who are working there, talk to the people who are working there, collect as much information about the company, because that's one of the questions you're going to be asked. Why do you want to work for us? The next one. Have questions ready. Be prepared to ask questions. Asking questions shows the team that you are interested in the role. It's not just, hello, here is my CV, give me some money every month, I'll work for you. They want someone who is passionate, who knows what they want. So get ready to ask really good questions. And I have an upcoming video for that. Let's talk about interesting things. Salaries. From my experience, do not state a number for what your salary expectation is. If it's in the forms, just do not write anything, or just put zero and add a description that I put zero because I didn't want to disclose my salary. In some states in the US, ask about your current salaries is illegal. How are we going to answer the question, what is your salary expectation? Well, what I normally do, I tend to not answer that question directly. They might still insist that, yep, great, but can you give us a number? From my experience, it's better to give them a big range. Go on Glassdoor, go on LinkedIn, get some data on salaries, and then give them a range and wait for their response and see how they react to that. You don't want to give an exact number of, I want 120,000 USD per annum. If they're expecting to give you more, they will not. And if they know that's what you want, they will probably offer you 110,000 USD because they want to get you in and they can see that you're invested. Let's talk about interview is done and the result is out and it doesn't really look good. Handle rejection gracefully. From my personal experience, a lot of the times you are not either going to get the role that you want or they will not employ you because you are not the person that they want. You need to live with this. Data science and tech is a very competitive field, and this is a very normal process for every single person. If they give you a rejection, or in some cases, which I don't really find very polite, they don't get back to you, that needs to be handled very politely and very gracefully. I would also thank them for their consideration. But what is the most important thing to do? Ask for feedback. The people sat down with you for quite a long time, they talked to you, they heard you, and now it's ethically good for them to come back with a feedback. What happens if we get good news? If we are offered a position with that company, if we landed it? Well, congratulations first. Second, how do you hear about it? Normally you will get a phone call. There will be a phone call from an HR representative or the person that was in contact throughout the whole process, and they will be offering you the position. And then they will send you the details of the offer, which will be their remuneration package, your working arrangements, and all that through an email. If you have a couple of offers, you can tell them that you do have that, and that will strengthen you in your negotiations. You can say, I have 3 offers, this is that, and that is that. Probably you don't want to name the companies. If you want to, your choice. But I think that gives you more strength in saying, this is the number I want, and this is how I want it. Tech companies expect you to negotiate, and that's a good thing. You're not dealing with an industry that is not very open to negotiation. You can almost always at least get 5% more or 5Ks more. From my experience, you can. How much you can negotiate? Well, that really depends on the situation, on where you're at. How much do you want this job? How good is the company? How good is the role? There is not a plan fits for all. You really need to consider your situation and the job offers. Final words. Job hunting is a very stressful and can be very exhausting, especially if you have a full-time job and you're looking to change industries or jobs. I hope this video will really help you in your job hunting and getting the confidence to show up there and get that position. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of things coming up.